This is Bookmarks with Richard Gadz.
Hello, this is Richard Gadz. I'm back in my kitchen in Keynsham today, having a cup of tea with Francesca Ramsay, who's the author of Pinch Me, Trying to Feel Real in the 21st Century. So welcome, Francesca. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
Not at all. Tell us all about the book.
So Pinch Me is a non-fiction exploration into, well, essentially what it means to feel real today. Explored largely through the visual arts, because I'm a kind of art historian in my other life, but also through sex and relationships, hallucinogenic drugs, spirituality, landscape, swimming in cold water, all of the things that people use and have used historically to kind of bring themselves into their bodies. It's a major topic, and it's one that I think really hits the zeitgeist today. I feel we're living in a time perhaps of disconnection, and a time where we're all trying to feel some kind of grounding, I think, in these, strange times, as everyone likes to call them.
Wow, yes, absolutely. It's I mean, as you say, it is very much sort of on the button these days. I mean, cold swimming especially, that's...
Absolutely.
I constantly hear about, having cold showers and cold swimming and all that kind of thing.
You've not jumped in the Bristol River?
I have not jumped in the Bristol River, and I don't think I will. In the summer, I might brave a freezing cold shower and just see.
That's very good for you.
But we shall see. So, what motivated you to want to write this?
It was really motivated by quite a weird experience I had with a painting, a very kind of unassuming still life by Picasso, and just to kind of go back to this story, it's something that happened quite a few years ago. I was in Paris and I was leading a student group around the city on a cultural tour, and I was very, very stressed, completely unqualified for the job, absolutely awful at pastoral care, kept losing them, they kept getting food poisoning and throwing up and having tantrums, and I couldn't deal with it. And so I guess because I was so stressed and because I felt like I really shouldn't be there, it kind of made me feel very dissociated and very kind of disconnected from my experience. And one afternoon I had a couple of hours to myself, and I went to the Picasso Museum and I was walking around and not really connecting with any of the artwork. And then I just saw this painting that kind of really brought me into myself, and it gave me this kind of sense of clarity and a sense of presence in a way that I hadn't experienced for the whole week before. Yeah. And it was a really strange experience, and one I've never forgotten. And a few years later, I was again feeling slightly dissociated, slightly on theme here. And I thought back to that experience, and I thought, well, I wonder what happened there. And I wonder if I could just work out exactly what it was about this artwork that made me feel this way. Yeah. And then lockdown happened. The pandemic hit, and I realised that it wasn't just me feeling disconnected from the world. Suddenly everyone was living in this off-kilter, surreal environment, and perhaps a journey towards finding the ways that we can kind of bring ourselves into our bodies and bring ourselves into the presence might be more relevant to more people than just me. So that really kind of spawned the investigation, but it grew and grew as I was writing it, and as I spoke to more people, and as I was saying, I realised that it was a really relevant topic.
Yeah. Do you think the pandemic kind of shifted the public perception of that kind of thing? Because it seems to me that now there's a lot more talk about, being in the moment.
I think we've been on kind of a slippery slope, and I don't think it's necessarily was just the pandemic, but obviously the pandemic was an incredibly, it was a terrifying experience for many of us. And it also kind of meant that we spent a lot more time using technology instead of having face-to-face relationships and connections with each other. Yeah. But I think there are other things that kind of, disconnect us from the world because we're scared, like the climate crisis, for example. It's easier to back away from it instead of face it. for most of us. I guess, at points myself included. So I do think that we are perhaps living in a culture where, because we've got these kind of huge issues happening politically and with the climate and with kind of AI in the future, these things that we don't know what will happen, we are perhaps more disconnected.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I think a lot of fiction writers are responding to the same kind of thing, because there's this anxiety about
absolutely.
about the environment, about politics, about where the world is going, and you see that coming through in fiction quite a lot, in quite a few genres. I mean, I experienced it myself. I mean, the thing that seems very common to a lot of sort of very old philosophies.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it seems it's sort of come full circle and become modern again. Do you think?
Completely, and I think it's important to be very clear that I'm a white Western middle class woman, so I'm coming from this perspective. So nothing that I'm writing about is new, and a lot of these kind of, as you're saying, bringing yourself into body, bringing yourself into the present techniques come from the East and come from 2,000-3,000 years ago, and I guess they've kind of been brought back. So a lot of it is knowledge that we've already gained in the past, but it's knowledge that seems to be far more relevant to be putting into use today than it has been before.
Yeah, as I say, mindfulness as a concept, sort of like when I was a kid, that would have seemed very exotic, but now it's absolutely part. It's part of the curriculum. It's everything. Yeah. Can we hear a little bit from the book, perhaps?
Yeah, of course. So this is the introduction. Pinch me. I'm a will-o'-the-wisp, all shadow and ether. For as long as I can remember, I have lived at a distance from my own life, hovering a few millimetres behind my eyes and just above my hairline. That's not to say I don't enjoy living. Like the rest of us, I cry with laughter and frustration. I fall in and out of love. I bruise easily. I'm badly dressed. But the varying levels of disconnect I have to the rest of the world leave me convinced I must be sleepwalking. I'm split in two. Mind and body rarely able to be in the same place at the same time, in the now and now and now of moment-by-moment existence. Reality should be as simple as breathing, but it's not. Perhaps you feel it too. Perhaps you share this same sense of dislocation from your own life. Perhaps, like me, you believe there must be more. There have been moments, pinpricks in time that have given me such an essential and triumphant feeling of realness. I am for that one split second jolted directly back into myself. I have found it when immersed in bodies of very cold water, when face to face with a vast and beautiful view. I have found it in print, loud noise, and in utter silence. I found it in darkness too. But most of all, most consistently, I have found it in art. There have been paintings that have grabbed me by both shoulders and stopped me still in their presence, drawings so intricate, so concentrate that they demand my full awareness, whispering to me this question: could you be anywhere else but here, now, in this exact moment? For the rest of the time, though, like a forgotten word on the tongue, or the deeply recognisable landscape of a dream lost just after waking, I have nothing but a dusty feeling that, if I tried just a little harder, I would be on the cusp of something truly magnificent. I refuse to exist like this any longer. This is my journey to find reality in the 21st century.
That's lovely. Can we hear the bit about the painting?
Yeah, of course. So it's funny because when I have talked about this to other people and I try to explain my experience with the painting, I realise that there's no way I can explain it that isn't what I've written down, so I always think it's easier to just read it out.
Right.
This is what did it. A heavy ceramic white jug, 4 golden brown and rough textured russets, a wooden table. Nothing more than that. No, everything more than that. We look at each other, the painting and I, and all else in the room is irrelevant. It stops me stock still, giving me a bada boom in my chest like some lust-struck cartoon character. All I am is heart and eyes and body washed cool right through with tones of blue and green and grey. All I am is wrapped up in its generous curves, the jug painted with as much intimacy as a long familiar lover, the outright eroticism of its lip, the smooth swoop of its belly, the sexualised centre of a 16th century Italian nude. It is Titian's Venus d'Urbino in kitchen china. And this is how it happens, just for that one small shiver, one beautiful moment of a pure and unexpected clarity, a sudden arrival of being. I feel real. I leave the museum clutching a postcard. It's a mockery, really, of what I have just experienced, but still it will serve as a reminder that somewhere the sense of reality truly does exist inside of me. I can feel the painting's presence all the way down the stairs, a lovely buoyed coolness, as if I'm walking down a small waterfall. And then out I go into the sun-brittled Parisian morning. The clarity I felt in the museum is swept away with the streams of tourists, reality slipping out of my fingers with the same sudden ease as it had arrived.
That's beautifully poetic.
Thank you.
This is your first book, that's right?
It is my first book, yes.
So what's been your path to publication? How have you found that?
Gosh, it is a strange old path, isn't it?
Everybody's is different.
Yeah. I guess I'd wanted to write something for quite a while, and so I kind of began jotting down some ideas as I was kind of talking to more people about dissociation and reality and all of that. And then I found an agent probably about, I guess, 6 months probably after I started jotting down these ideas, and I worked with her on the synopsis, as you all know, and on the first 3 chapters I think I ended up writing. And then we tried to sell it, as I'm sure you'll empathise. We got a lot of rejections.
Oh yeah.
You have to stay quite strong.
You have to have a thick skin.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, yeah. And you learn to have a thick skin quite quickly, otherwise you'll be devastated.
Yeah.
But then we found my publisher, Ortec Press, who are a relatively new publisher. I'm their 4th book, actually very new publisher, indie publisher, and they kind of publish fiction and kind of social science and art, really exploring kind of big contemporary ideas. And so my publisher, Henry Rowley from Ortec, just got the kind of book immediately, and it was really lovely. And the same with my agent. It's a real boost, when someone sees your vision.
Yeah, you need that sort of empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I say that because we're very keen on the independent press in this kitchen.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think you seem to get quite a lot more freedom, I think, with independent presses.
You do, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it swings and roundabouts, but yes, as you say, there's, they have a lot more freedom in what they do, which I think, and they have the capacity to kind of pursue passion projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way that the mainstream publishers normally don't.
Completely. And you have certainly I found in my experience, I had quite a lot of control over the cover. And this illustration is by an illustrator called Grace Apley. She made this kind of beautiful collage, handmade collage, which we decided kind of worked perfectly on the cover. So she really, I think, has kind of got all of the main elements of the book into this quite kind of strange and yearning drawing. Yeah.
Well, yes, as you say, you have some say on the cover, and that's something you don't get with the big publishers at all.
Exactly.
Many is the time that I've had a large publisher put a jacket in front of me and say, "Do you like this?" And I've said, "Well, actually," and it just looks completely wrong. And I said, "Well, I wonder if I could change this." And they say, "Well, no, the salespeople like it, so it's sticking with."
Oh God, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, you kind of. But it is a strange process, isn't it? Because you put all this. It's very personal. Writing, and then you kind of put all your love into it, and then you just kind of send it out.
Yeah,
and who knows what happens?
Oh, they say, it's like babies, but it is.
Yeah.
You send them out into the world and you worry in just the same way.
I don't know if I can have a baby if it's the same as this.
If it's, will people accept my new child?
Exactly.
Will they like,
Exactly.
Kind of So you have exactly the same emotions.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'd imagine you'd agree that I think the kind of writing community and the indie bookshop community in Bristol are really welcoming to kind of new writers. So that's been quite a good experience. And I'm discovering more and more writers who live in Bristol.
Well, I am actually.
Yeah,
I've only lived in this area for about, 7 or 8 months.
Oh, really?
Now, and I'm amazed. Everywhere I look, there are these wonderfully talented people.
I mean, it makes sense for such a kind of creative and inspiring city.
Yeah, and the contrast between Bristol and Bath, I find is really quite marked. You've got very sort of classical
Absolutely.
Bath, and you've got zippy modern Bristol.
Yeah.
But so I remember my first ever editor saying to me, "Well, yes, you'll have all these things about your new book and this, that, and the other." He said, "But you've got to remember there are two conflicting things in publishing. One is that nobody's waiting to read your next book. The world will get on quite well without ever hearing from you.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, publishers are like vampires. They need a constant supply of fresh blood. They might pretend that they don't, but they need you as every bit as much as you need them."
Yeah, I completely agree.
So I thought, I sort of took some solace from that many years ago, thinking, oh well, yes, I suppose there's a balance to be struck.
Yeah, definitely. And I think your first point is it's a really useful thing to remember as a new author. That people will read your book, the book that you have spent 3 or so years thinking about and you continue to think about every day. And they'll read it and go, "Oh, that was good," and then just put it in the bookshelf, and that's kind of done.
Yeah.
You're at risk of feeling very, very self-important, possibly on publication date, and then you'd have to eat like a massive slice of humble pie.
Yes.
And you're like, well,
yes.
That was my moment of glory.
Yeah. there's a sort of twin shock. I always find one is going into a bookshop and seeing your book on the shelf, and the other is going into a bookshop and not seeing your book on the shelf.
Yeah.
And either way, you have quite an extreme reaction to it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, can't go into a bookshop casually anymore.
Oh God. No.
Is it going to be that?
No, I look in bookshops now with great trepidation. Have they? And if they haven't, well, I'm not buying from you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my book's coming out at the end of March. It's been translated into Italian.
Oh,
which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. It's going to be in Italian bookshops, hopefully.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Good stuff. Now, I must ask you about visiting ashrams in India and psychics in New York and having a summer of solitude. Tell us all about that. It sounds fascinating. You had some real adventures.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're kind of adventures, both old and new, really. And one of the really interesting things for me in the kind of process of writing this book was that I managed to create quite a strong narrative throughout my own life, and I realised that actually I have been searching for this greater depth of feeling for many years.
Yeah.
And so, for example, I went to India not for this book research, but I'd been, I think I was 24, I guess. And then I realised a lot of those bizarre experiences you have in India. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I was just wandering around trying to find something, as every second middle-class white woman is doing in India. So yeah, I kind of I guess managed to spin together all of these disparate experiences I've had into this narrative. I mean, I've been, as I was saying, searching for this depth of feeling, I guess, for many years. And some of the things that I did ironically, going to a psychic, although that was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
And some of the things I did, in a more serious basis, kind of walking through various places alone, or taking myself to swim in different places.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, I'm going to seek far and wide, because there have been points where, I've been really kind of desperate to find my answer.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So, but it's taken me on a very unexpected journey,
Yeah.
I'd say, and perhaps you'll agree, you know, writing your own books, you do find yourself in some quite strange, going into some quite strange directions.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's different between sort of fiction and non-fiction, and also the same, because you know you find yourself putting bits of yourself into the book that you don't expect. I mean, several times people have said to me, "Oh, well, that's, you know, this bit in the book, that's so and so, isn't it?" Or that's this incident, or that, and it hasn't even occurred to me.
No.
And I thought, oh, yeah, I suppose it is.
Well,
actually.
I mean, that's another fascinating thing, that people read whatever words you put down, people are all going to read them differently.
Oh, yeah.
You know, however you write them.
Yeah.
I know for certainly my friends and family, it's been quite I would say, strange experience in reading this book, because it's so written in my voice, and so it's another kind of depth of their relationship to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm very interested to know how it feels to be someone who doesn't know me reading it.
Yeah. But is that right? You walked across the whole country with just a hammock?
Walked from Oxford to Bournemouth.
Right.
Yes.
So just sort of wherever the wind took you.
Yeah, I was with an ex-boyfriend, and we'd walked out of our jobs, and we just kept walking. We thought, we'll take a hammock and we'll try and get to the sea. Some kind of like completely disastrous pilgrimage. But it was very fascinating, because it made me, because there's a lot of kind of romanticism about landscape and what it can do to you and how it can help you and bring you into your body. But actually, I didn't experience that. And one of the things about this book is that a lot of the things I write about go wrong and are false starts. And so I try to be very truthful
about how you learn,
trying to kind of not romanticise this journey. I think there are moments of great vulnerability in it, which I hadn't considered who would read it. But I guess that's what happens as a writer.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of again, an old editor said to me, a lot of the editorial process is squeezing out the ambiguities. You know, it's
a good sentence.
It's looking at the text so that you can read it cold and you're not going to misinterpret it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I find that's quite often the hardest thing is expressing something in the way you want to express it, but at the same time making it as clear as you can possibly make it.
Yeah.
And sometimes those two things clash slightly. But I mean, did you find it quite a long process between, you know, your initial first draft sort of thing and finally getting it finished?
It was a very quick turnaround, actually. After I got the publisher, it was published, I think 6 months after I gave them the manuscript, which is quicker than the kind of big publishers.
It is, yes. Yeah.
They tend to have a year
between
publication.
Yeah, at least.
Which, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the whole process took 3 years, I would say.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which felt like a really long time, but I've spoken to other authors who say, gosh, that's so quick.
Yeah. Well, you know, it depends on so many things. You get writers who sort of turn things around in a few months, and you get others that work for years.
And I
years
mean,
and years.
I was working full time as writing this book.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing to do, to write.
Yeah. I don't know about you,
consuming.
but I always find when I've finished a book and I write the end, the next 2 weeks I'm dead to the world. I'm completely zonked out. It's like you've been holding it in your head so long.
Absolutely.
And then you let it go. And then the rest of you just sort of goes,
Yeah, here we are.
You know?
Well, I finished mine completely unexpectedly when I was staying with a friend outside Wells. And I kind of just had written this sentence, and I was just like, I finished it. And it was just this really weird, it's a really weird feeling, isn't it? Because it can
it is.
come to you quite unexpectedly.
Yeah.
But kind of going on from that, when you're not writing, that's a very weird feeling. It's like you've kind of stepped onto this conveyor belt and you keep having to write something because now I'm not kind of fully immersed in a project, and it's a great loss.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yes, it's you sort of have to keep on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And if you lose the thread, you'd be right off the rails, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Metaphors.
I mean, my subconscious must be going mad.
Oh yeah.
It's got no way out at the moment.
That sounds very bleak, doesn't it, listeners? I'm terribly sorry.
Sorry.
But are you working on a follow-up?
I have been having a few kind of very tentative ideas at the moment. I'm kind of wary about pushing something too hard.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of waiting for ideas to come to me.
Yeah.
I guess I'd like to write something that kind of takes me outside again, and something perhaps more like associated with the natural world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not entirely sure yet.
Right.
But I'm just feeling ready to write. And it does take a while. You know, you're absolutely exhausted, and then your thing comes out and you have to be thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And then a lot of ideas that are crap, essentially, keep coming to you.
Yeah. Well, you have to let things marinate.
Yeah.
You really
do. Absolutely.
I mean,
you can't rush it.
No. That goes for any kind of book, whatever. It's got to sit in your head for a while.
Yeah.
It's got to live there for a bit.
Absolutely.
And then, when it's ready.
And just going back to the subconscious, I mean, that's why it's an amazing thing, because you can have a little idea and it will just be ticking away.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you'll go, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think half the battle is sort of recognising which of the ideas worth pursuing and which are the ones that sort of, tuck it away for a little while. It might find its home somewhere.
I mean, I guess unfortunate thing about Pinch Me is that I literally wrote down every single experience I've ever had in it. So that's kind of the end of memoir for me for quite a while.
Oh, well, you see, you've got a blank slate. You've got a whole fresh sort of empty page.
Yeah.
Well, Francesca Ramsay, thank you so much for coming to see us today about Pinch Me. It sounds like a fascinating book. I will read it, and I will get back to you.
Brilliant. I look forward to it.
So, thank you very much, and that's it for today. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
That was Bookmarks with Richard Gads. For more, visit www.richardgads.co.uk.